Hello and welcome back to F1 22 Driver Career Mode. My name is Chris and today we head into round 3 of Season 3 for the Imola Sprint and of course the Imola Grand Prix. Now we can see from the list that was just on the screen, we currently have the third best car. Looking at some upgrades, we are looking at durability, which is an interesting one. So currently sat in P3 in the championship. Carlos Sainz just ahead of us, 7 points ahead of us, and Lando Norris already so early on dominating first with 50 points at the minute. Here's what the previous two results look like. Bahrain was a win for Lando and a win for Lando in Australia. Third places for us both times. In fact, it's the same 1-2-3 result at every single race so far. Only difference being that Carlos has got a fastest lap in there as well. So we head into this weekend, bring in upgrades, and now look, we have the best car on the grid by a smidge. Not very much, McLaren trailing us ever so slightly, but we'll see how that actually plays out on track because it's quite close. Alrighty then, heading into qualifying on a Friday because we've got a sprint, setting our first lap. What's that looking like? Currently sat at the back of the grid, and with the new tyre update, not so new anymore, we only get 3 sets of softs. Might be a bit different for a sprint weekend, I don't remember. Second place so far, Russell just ahead in the Renault Sonoda, even further ahead. So not the best start really, and we're coming around to start a second consecutive flying lap on this set of tyres. We did a cool down lap in between times, but hoping to set a much better time. Not up on the straight so far, and as we head into turn 1, making up nearly 2 tenths there. That's a good start to the lap, but we quickly lose it all. Anyway, further into the lap, 6 tenths we've gained so far. A bit of a wobble, but we get through unscathed. So 7 tenths purple through sector 2. That's what we like to see. Currently sat in 10th, which would get us through. And across the line, 4th position, more than enough to get us through into the second round of qualifying. And here's what it looks like then as everybody else crosses the line in Q1. Charles Leclerc in the Red Bull, currently sat at the top. Just behind is Lando Norris, just 10/100ths of a second, and we're sat down in P8. Out in Q1, Yuki Tsunoda, Lance Stroll, Nicholas Latifi, Robert Schwartzman and Zhou Guanyu. Usual suspects really so far this season. The Audi team struggling to get some performance. Of course, they pick up where Alfa Romeo left off. And as you can see actually here in Q2, the rain is starting to come down. You can see it on the screen. Not ideal, but currently just about dry enough for us to keep going. And as we come around the last corner, we might have put ourselves in a really, really good position here as we come across the line. DRS open. Up into 3rd. 7 tenths off Gasly though. That just shows you how bad the track is getting. We did decide to try and go again on a set of soft tyres because the DRS is still enabled. That means it's not wet enough yet for the wet tyres on this game. 10th up as we head into the out of the first sector. Can we hold on to it though? It's looking a bit slippery. Bit wide there. And the car just wanted to go straight on. Not what we wanted. We're now 10th down on our time. And as we come round the final corner, it's definitely wet enough now for us to not be on the soft tyre. But we're going to finish it anyway, but we're not going to improve. However, it looks like we're going for another one. We just kept going. So we're just sort of hoping that we can make up the time into turn 1. It's a bit of an improvement, but we just can't hold it as we go through turns 2 and 3. And as we head up into the middle sector of the lap, we're losing time hand over fist here. Over the curb, nearly losing the back end there. That would not have been ideal. And this is a tricky corner in the dry, let alone in the wet. And just a bit too much throttle. And we're round into the wall.
That looked bad. Are you alright? Let me know you're okay.
And we've given our engineers some work to do before the sprint. Not great. Here's an off-board look at that. We did just get on the curb. And then on the way out, we just got a little bit too greedy. And round we go. Into the wall. Wheels off. Suspension broken. Not ideal, but P12 is not the worst start, especially because we've got a sprint race. We can make these positions up, and we're going to endeavour to do that. Also leaving Q2, Oscar Piastri in the Renault. That Renault has been quick. Look where George Russell is. Mick Schumacher, Sergio Perez in the Red Bull, and Max Verstappen.
So it's all about speed in today's sprint. Not very many laps and no chance to get ahead on strategy. Who here today has the raw skill to take them to the top? Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, with Esteban Ocon alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Leclerc, Sainz, George Russell and Gasly, Ricciardo, Magnussen, Fernando Alonso and Alex Albon, Oscar Piastri, Marshall, Mick Schumacher and Perez, Verstappen, Tsunoda, Lance Stroll and Nicolas Latifi, Schwartzman and Guan Yu Zhou. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint.
Okay, so our system checks are good. We need to stay in formation and start bringing the car up to temperature, please. Get some load into the tyres and work the brakes. We want them nice and warm by the end of this lap.
All right, here we go. Imola Sprint, round 3 of this current championship. Things are shaking out a little different to what I expected. I honestly thought that the Mercedes was going to be a bit better. I know it was pretty low down on the R&D chart when we joined, but yeah, I don't know. I was expecting a bit more. Anyway, focusing on the race. 5 red lights beginning to illuminate now. And we are underway for the Imola Sprint race. The 2 McLarens on the front row. Norris gets a very, very good getaway. We did not get a great getaway. Look at the Haas of Schumacher on the left-hand side. That said, second phase, we're absolutely flying and past Albon in his Audi. Round the outside we go into turn 1. Who's that on the left? That is Magnussen in the AlphaTauri. Boy, oh boy. From a questionable getaway, we made it work, didn't we? Up from P12 into P9 already. Just in the first few corners, we'll take that. The McLaren of Esteban Ocon has ended up behind Charles Leclerc in the Red Bull. That's probably not what they wanted to see, but it's hardly surprising. Esteban Ocon hasn't really been performing, at least in the first 2 races, as you might expect in that McLaren, but it's early days.
That was fine. Let's try and move forward.
And Ricciardo in the Ferrari, just ahead of us. Hopefully, in a minute, he'll be just behind us as we look to make an overtake round the outside. Wow, that was aggressive from Ricciardo. He didn't really want to give us room, but we're going to force our way round, and we do so. At the end of lap 1, we've gained 4 places. We take those, and swiftly on to lap 2, Alonso just ahead in the Haas. He's been putting that car in places it does not deserve to be. Well, since he came back to Formula 1, to be honest, but especially in this season, he's absolutely on it. But we're going to try and change that, as we basically push him round the corner, and we get such good drive out of there that we might just be able to get him into the chicane. A bit of a risky move. We're going to go round the outside, still manage to give him plenty of space, and up we go into P7. Pierre Gasly would be next then. Let's have another look at that overtake. As we come up the hill, we get a bit of a warning for collision with Alonso, but I'm not sure I agree with that one. Anyway, we got the move done, round the outside, and on we go. Pierre Gasly, as I said, is up next. Our teammate, 1.5 seconds down the road, just holding on to that train. And here's Daniel Ricciardo, also having a look on Fernando Alonso. He's not making it easy for him, but he does get through, and he's up into P8. So, never mind. Fernando got a much better exit on the last corner, and is just holding on for now. But that Ferrari is obviously quicker than the Haas, so it looks like Danny Rick, if he can keep his foot in, as he pushes Alonso to the right-hand side, almost onto the grass, and he does get himself up into P8. Back on board with us, fastest lap, on to lap 5. We've got the DRS of Gasly ahead.
The car behind by around a second a lap.
Hoping that we can get close enough to make a move on the next lap. Pretty much the only real... There's probably 2 overtaking spots on this entire track. realistically, if you don't include the chicane, even though we've just proven that you can overtake there, and that is into turn 1 and into the final couple of corners. So there aren't many where I feel that you can really make a good overtake and then not get screwed by the DRS on the exit. So a little bit of contact there with Pierre. I'm sure he won't be very happy about that, but here's what it is. We didn't get any damage, he didn't get any damage. DRS open, deploying a ton of ERS down the straight, but we need to get past him so we don't lose touch with Sainz and the train ahead. So we do get past. Can we hold it into turn 1? He's still there on the outside. Yes, we do. Round we go, up into P6. Sensational race so far, and we're just getting started. On to lap 8, and we have caught up to Sainz. We've obviously got a quick car here at Imola. We bought some updates this weekend, and it did put us top of the R&D chart. I wasn't really sure how that was going to shake out because we hadn't really had a chance to test it, but it's working great so far. And can we make a move here? I don't think we're quite close enough as we head into turn 1. We're going to have a look. Didn't quite work out, but just up ahead, Ocon and Russell wheel banging just ahead of us, and that's exactly what we want to see because it's going to hold them up, it's going to hold up Sainz, and then we can make a move. But what's happening here? 4 cars all fighting for the same bit of track, and we've snuck our way past Sainz because, like I said, he just got held up. Oh, big snap of oversteer for us on the exit, clashing into Sainz' side pod there. He won't be very happy with that one. We get a warning for that. And Mick Schumacher out of the session. That's unfortunate for Haas. As I said, that car is decent this season, but yeah, not to be for Mick Schumacher on this occasion. Norris is quite clearly in the lead, as has been the norm this season. So he's going to be scoring himself 8 more points today, I would imagine. Charles Leclerc not super hot on his tail, to be honest. He's quite way behind. But focusing on the current battle, we need to get past Sainz and then try and dispatch the 2 cars ahead. So as we head on to the home straight, we're probably going to open up the battery here, I'd imagine. There it goes. DRS will be open now. Can we pull up? We've had a very good slipstream these last few laps, and we are gaining, but is it going to be enough? We've got 2 yellow flags on track. That could be a safety car. We can't overtake here because of the yellow flags, which is really unfortunate because we could have got that done there. And Joe Guan Yu out of the session as well. Not a great weekend for Audi either. Anyway, on to lap 10. The yellow flags have been cleared. The stricken cars are out the way. No safety car, no virtual safety car. So great for us. Although a safety car probably would have worked in our favour. In fairness, we're going to try and make it move. Last lap, the 2 ahead are fighting again. And they're going to be slow. But Sainz was in the way. We couldn't really go anywhere there. So we get held up too. And are they going to start fighting? Sainz is going for the move. It's 3 wide into the corner. He's on the curb. He's lost the back end. And our race is done.
Engine off.
That is not how we envision this planning out. Here's another look. Gasly's super close behind as well. We go nice and wide to try and avoid Sainz, and he loses the back end on the curb. Here's what Gasly saw. There goes Sainz over the curb, loses the back end. We try to avoid him. There's nothing we could do. We were a passenger at that point, and there goes the wheel, the suspension. The other side this time, the opposite side to our qualifying crash, so hopefully we've got enough spare parts. And that's us out of the sprint and starting from the back for the Grand Prix. Not ideal. And there you have it, there's a result. Pierre Gasly, despite getting caught up in that incident, I don't know if a safety car was deployed because I wasn't in the race anymore, but yeah, he got a P6, so could have been worse. Carlos Sainz all the way down in 5th, but Lando Norris wins and takes the most points. We start from the back tomorrow.
Welcome once again to the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo e Dino Ferrari. The clue's in the name. This is very much Ferrari home turf, and the locals will be out in force today to support their team in what we hope will be a magnificent spectacle of motorsport. On then to the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. 1 lap of Imola, anti-clockwise of course, unlike most Formula 1 circuits, will take our drivers round 3.1 miles of track. 19 turns, 9 right-handers and 10 to the left. Drivers will need to be precise at the hairpin at turn 7, given the subsequent uphill section. Without a good exit from that corner, they'll lose a lot of time on that stretch. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Russell, Ocon, Pierre Gasly and Ricciardo, Perez, Fernando Alonso, Magnussen and Alex Albon, Verstappen, Tsunoda, Robert Schwartzman and Stroll, Sainz, Latifi, Oscar Piastri and Marshall, Joe and Mick Schumacher. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
And here we are then, not quite at the back because of course Joe and Schumacher also retired first, so 18th on the grid for the Grand Prix. Still work to do though, isn't it? But we've shown we've got pace, so let's see what we can do as we wait patiently for the 5 red lights. Here they come. Norris on pole position, Leclerc just behind, and it's lights out and we're underway. Norris got a decent start, but did you see Pierre Gasly there? He got a sensational start. He absolutely just went flying past the 2 cars in front, and he could have made up some serious positions as we go onto the grass through the 50-metre board, and just about managed to keep everything in a straight line. Onto the curb there, that's not going to do the floor any good. ERS on, Piastri's just ahead of us, and we've got Stroll trying to fight with us into the tail end of the first sector, but we keep him at bay, at least for now. Yes, as I suspected, Pierre Gasly made his way from, I think, 5th on the grid, all the way up to 2nd. Sorry, 6th on the grid he was, and he gained 4 places just at the start. As we look at one of the Renaults there, trying to get past us, Oscar Piastri, I think, lost a bit of front wing there. So that'll be his race done then. Forgot to mention as well, we're starting on the softs here. Here's a look at Pierre Gasly's start. Look at this, it was sensational. P6 straight into P2 and overtaking the championship leader. As I said, Norris got a decent start. He didn't really, did he? He was on pole position and he ended up in 3rd before the first corner. 2 Williams ahead of us then as we come towards the tail end of the first lap. Sainz is trying to get through on us. We're not really giving him any more space than he deserves today, especially after yesterday's incident. And the 2 Williams ahead of Verstappen and Schwartzman. Schwartzman's trying to have a little look, and we're just absolutely cruising up to the back of them round the outside of Schwartzman. Can we get past Verstappen as well? Not there, we can't, as he slices across us as he's entitled to do. He was firmly ahead, and we have to stay behind for now. On the medium tyre though, so we should have the legs for at least the first 6 or 7 laps before these start to die off. Having a look round the outside, can we make it stick? Yes we can, incredible traction on the exit. Deploy a bit of VRS just to get the move absolutely done. And we're up into P12, which is where we were starting in the sprint race. 2 AlphaTauris ahead of us now. It seems to be a bit of a Noah's Ark situation going on here. We've got 2x2 all the way down the grid, and we get past Tsunoda into the chicane. That's a move we've been loving making recently, especially we did a couple of those in the sprint race, and it seems to be working out pretty well for us. So we'll keep doing it. On to lap 4, and we're trying to get ourselves past Magnussen. Can we go round the outside? Not quite, but we get pretty good exit despite the lack of traction, and obviously superior speed. But he's still there on the left-hand side, so we're going to have to give him plenty of room, and we are up ahead. Albon up next in the Audi. They've not been having the best weekend, the best season at all. The brand new team into Formula One, of course, taking over Alfa Romeo Sauber. And looks like we're going to dispatch Albon with not too much effort. Round the outside, very deep into the chicane. But the move is done.
Okay, good work. Great pass.
And Fernando Alonso,
Let's get back up to racing speed. Come on.
is our next target as we head to the back end of lap 7. What can we do here? We're going to get past him on the straight. I hope so. We should have DRS, and we've got a bit of battery to play with. So he doesn't have DRS because he's not close enough to the cars in front. We dummy him thinking we're going to go left, and then we go right, and we get past him. And before turn 1, we are ahead. Daniel Ricciardo in P7, Sergio Perez in P6. They're the cars that we want to be looking for next. So Sergio obviously had a very good sprint race yesterday to get himself that far up the grid, because remember, he got knocked out in Q1, I think, actually.
Okay, be aware, the grip levels are going to start falling away soon.
That was Q2, wasn't it? He got knocked out in Q2, I think it was 14th or 15th. So he obviously made up some places. Daniel Ricciardo's looking for a move down the inside. Through he goes, but he's made a right mess of it. And they make contact, but he's gone through. Sergio sort of waved him by a little bit there on the exit. And Ricciardo in the Ferrari is up into P6. Hopefully, we'll be able to dispatch Sergio as well in the Red Bull. Maybe we'll make a move into the chicane. We'll see as the lap goes on. Round the outside here, perhaps. We keep looking at this move, but it doesn't really work out because we just give ourselves so much further to go. So he gets a bad exit because we made him go a little bit defensive. And here we go, round the outside. He's going to keep with us just about, though. But I would say that is move done. Oh, but he's decided absolutely not. That move is not done, and I'm going to absolutely send it on you. That said, he went onto the curb, so there wasn't really much. He was pretty much off track. Wasn't a lot he could have done. And we are going to keep the place for now. Lap 10, though, on a set of softs. These softs aren't going to last very much longer as we come round. I say that, onto lap 12. We're still on these softs with 20 laps to go. Pierre's in the pit lane, so we cannot pit yet, although we are pitting. Looks like Sir Pierre is just about enough ahead of us that we shouldn't get held up. We got held up a tiny bit, but we just couldn't really risk going too much longer on those soft tyres.
That's a fantastic stop, faster than we were expecting.
Set of mediums on, and that should get us to the end.
These tyres now, we want to finish the race on this compound.
And here comes Sergio Perez. Cut that a bit fine, didn't he? He didn't really need to go that close to us, but I suppose he was trying to open up the corner for turn 1 and not give too much time away. So he was behind us when we pit, and now he's ahead of us. So not ideal. We went a bit too long on the soft tyres, and we just lost a bit of pace towards the end of that stint. But we've got a quick car, so we should be able to get past him. The Red Bull, it's quick, but it's not as quick as it was in the last 2 seasons. So we are going to sail on by in the DRS zone. Thank you very much. P16 for now. The leaders have not pit yet. I think they started on mediums though, so we probably shouldn't expect that. That said, we are expecting rain at some point, so there's a good chance they might try and extend to that rain period. I don't know when it's coming. It could be any time between now and the end of the race. You can see the cloud covers coming over, so it could happen soon, but we'll see. We'll see how it unfolds. Pit stops, as I was saying that, have started to shake out, so we are back up into P4. Ocon behind us on the hard tyres. Interesting strategy, given that rain is definitely on the way. You can see it's getting darker and darker every single lap. And also, we haven't got enough fuel to get to the end. And as I say that, here comes the rain. You can see it on screen. Gasly is trying to get his way past Leclerc, but he's not really pushing him that hard. But we've got a problem here because we don't have enough fuel to get to the end. And the lift and coast technique, maybe I'm doing it wrong. I cannot save fuel in this game. I don't know what it is, but yeah, lift and coast all the way into a corner, and it just barely gives me anything back. And then of course you lose so much time, but we just thought, solid, let's go for a move. See a big lift before that corner, and we still did manage to get past Gasly. Thank you very much. And up onto the podium we go. When is it going to be time to pit for wet tyres though? Because that could change things dramatically. We're on lap 26 of 32. DRS has been disabled. This would be the ideal time to come in, but we've decided to stay out. So let's hope it's worth it. Whether we're going to come in on the next lap or two, I don't know. None of the other guys have come in yet. So pretty much everybody's still out here on dry tyres with 5 laps to go. Is it worth pitting? I don't know. Nobody else thinks it is. So I think we might be seeing everybody go to the end on dry tyres unless things change dramatically. The AI don't really like to pit towards the end of the race. So can we get past Leclerc?
Okay, even though we're seeing cars start to struggle in these conditions, if we pit for instance now, we're going to be too slow and burn them out. Make the best of it for the time being.
We didn't make it work, but we did get him to make a mistake, and so he went super deep into turn 1, and we could just sail around the outside into turn 2. On to lap 28. We're really struggling here to keep this thing in a straight line on the track. And Leclerc is going to say, all right then, I'll take the place back. Thank you very much. And we're going to say, no, you're not. Stay where you are. But Norris is 8 seconds ahead. So even if we do manage to stay out, we're We haven't got a win on the cards today, let's face it. He's just too far gone. But we might see them come in soon. Maybe we should come in soon. Looking at this now, commentating, I would say we should probably come in for wet tyres. But what was going through my head at the time was probably something different.
Right, we've got enough fuel for 3 more laps. There's a new strategy available on the MFD.
So there's Mark telling us we should come in. Lando's come in from the lead of the race. He's going to put on some intermediate tyres. There goes Ocon as well. The McLaren really think that it's that perfect crossover time that they need to double stack. So that's interesting. We've decided that we're just going to stay out to the end now. We've got 3 laps to go. How bad can it be? Pretty bad. As there go. Oh, there's a Red Bull just alongside us there. And he didn't give us damage, but he did make contact with our side pod. So he probably got front wing damage from that. And yeah, not ideal. He's decided he's got so much damage that he's out. So Charles Leclerc has retired from that little bit of contact with us. So I wonder what that did to his car. It must have been pretty bad.
Battery charge is high. Let's use that overtake button a bit more.
Oh, I don't think that's a good idea. We can barely keep the car on the tarmac at the moment. As you see, we big snap of oversteer on the exit. Yep, everybody's pit for inters at this point, and if they haven't, they're about to. But we've got a bigger problem on our hands here. We've got 2 laps to go. We're on the wrong tyre. We have got no fuel.
We've only got 2 laps of fuel left.
We are in trouble. Here's Lando Norris. Remember that he was 8 seconds ahead of us. He then pit for inters, and we were about 14 seconds ahead of him. He's now caught us up in 2 laps and overtaken us, and is now 7-8 seconds back ahead of us again with a lap to go. And we've screwed this up. I mean, there's nothing we can do about it now. We just have to go to the end and do what we can, but everybody's catching us so quick, and when they do catch us, we haven't got any traction to hold them behind. So here comes Daniel Ricciardo in the Ferrari trying to get past. Ocon is there. George Russell is arriving on the scene as well. We're pretty much a sitting duck at this point. You can see we're just moving over slightly just to try and keep them behind, but it's not happening. Through goes Ocon into P2. Daniel Ricciardo managed to box himself in behind us, and that's given Ocon all the invitation he needs to take the position. There he goes though, through he goes, and Russell as well is going to take the position. Like I said, there's nothing we can do. We've absolutely royally screwed this strategy, and we are going to pay for it as we come round.
1 lap of fuel left now. The tank's pretty much
Tank
empty.
is pretty much empty. We've got no fuel. Sergio Perez is right there. There he goes. See you later. No traction. Final lap. What can we do? Can we hold 7th? I'm not convinced. Alonso's 1.1 seconds behind. That slide through the chicane isn't going to help. And as I say it, there he goes. Oh, big slide. There's no grip. The Inters were the better tyre 5-6 laps ago. We've probably got no heat in the tyres. Max Verstappen now in the Williams, of all things, is right on our tail. And if we don't get a decent exit out of the final corner, we might be paying the price. Well, even if we do, he's right there, and it's a drag race to the line. Who's going to win it? We just about hold on to 8th position, but that should have been a podium, and we should have just pit for the Inters when everybody else did. What a messy weekend. What a messy weekend. It's one we're going to want to forget, I think.
Another race and another win for McLaren. Tell me, Ant, how do they manage to achieve this win?
Well, keeping their tyre temperatures up in the tricky wet conditions was really important. There's not much grip out there at the best of times, and it's 10 times worse if you're out there on cold tyres. So the way they kept the rubber in its proper operating window was a huge advantage today.
As the winners make their way up to the podium, one can only imagine the celebrations that will take place at McLaren tonight. Congratulations to everyone on the team, securing the win and proving that they're a force to be reckoned with out on the track.
And McLaren's reign at the top just continues. Lando Norris takes his 3rd consecutive win in 3 races of this season, and he's looking very, very good for a championship win so far. But as we've seen in real life, it can all turn around. So maybe, just maybe, it'll turn around in our favour. But we'll see as the season goes on. Ocon managed to get himself on the podium as well. And how do we sum up our weekend? It was messy. is probably the best way that I could describe it. We had a crash in qualifying, a crash in the sprint, and we chose the wrong strategy in the race. So we'll be forgetting about this one and moving on to the next one. 4 points in total for the entire weekend is not what we need to be doing if we want to be defending our championship, but we move. Charles Leclerc DNF'd and Carlos Sainz DNF'd as well. When did that happen? I don't remember that. From the Grand Prix at least. Yeah, I don't remember that at all. Anyway, here's what it looks like in the championship. 83 points already. We're only 3 races into this season, and Norris has got himself 83 points. McLaren as a team, 124 points, and absolutely clear of pretty much anybody else at this point. But next time, we head to Miami, and that's a mixed bag in terms of racing, but the last couple of races we've had there have been fairly decent, so we'll be hoping for a better result. And if you want to see that, make sure you hit subscribe, leave us a little like, drop a comment, and I'll see you for the Miami Grand Prix. Bye.